Hey YouTube, it's Magician34, and I've been a little while bringing this to all of you, but you've probably heard about the Frog deck by now. This will probably be banned before too long, and if you're about to comment, it's already been banned. If that's already happened, check the date. Okay, when I make this video, it is still completely legal. Konami hasn't done anything. They suspect, though, everybody, whatever, suspect it's going to be banned soon. But if you're going to a regional or a local event and it's not yet banned, here's the deck. The best part about Frog FTK is every card in the main deck is regular rare or lower. You can find foil versions of some of them, but you don't have to. So you can dig through a bunch of your extra cards if you bought a lot of packs in the past, and you can probably build the deck from scratch. I am missing 2 cards, but I just went ahead and proxied them. I was having a little trouble getting them around locally, so point is you know what's in the deck, okay? One of the cards I'm missing is a Substitute. 3 copies of Substitute. This lets you load about 1 billion frogs into your grave. You get Mass Driver, this guy, and one other frog on your field, or any other monster for that matter on your field, and that's pretty much game. The object is to shoot your opponent 20 times with Mass Driver, and of course, 20 shots from Mass Driver, 400 damage a pop is 8,000 damage. So that's game. So definitely 3 copies of Substitute. This guy makes it work. And 2 copies are generally better of Ronin Toading, card from the most recent set, which makes it work. You just remove a monster and pop him back into play. Well, technically a frog. So you can't remove Substitute for him, but yeah. He just hops back into play, little frog. Hops, see? Yeah, that's a joke. Alright, yeah, not too funny when it's on the other side of the field, though. The reason you run 2 is so that he doesn't get DD Crowed or something and screw up your whole plan. So you definitely run 2 of this guy. And what better way to get him into the grave, or possibly get Substitute into the grave for your salvage, than 3 copies of Swap Frog. Definitely a must at 3. Swap Frog really makes this deck hum. It also makes Frog Monarchs work, but that's another video for another day. You run 2 copies of Treeborn Frog, just because he's a great frog to ditch to your grave. And if you actually don't get the OTK in your opening hand, which can occasionally happen, not often, but if you don't, he's a good frog to send to the grave with Swap Frog. Got 3 copies of Dupe Frog, your little froggy tutor. Well, he's kind of like a frog Sangan, really. Pretty nasty stuff. You run 3 copies of Poison Draw Frog. Most of these frogs, keep in mind, you're just running them so that you can send them to the grave via Substitute. But you still want to run the best frogs you can. You don't run Death Frog and all that. Generally speaking, they're not the best frogs because they can be bad in your opening hand. If you were forced to wait a turn, Death Frog's pretty useless. So, anyway, Flip-Flop Frog, great set if you have to set and wait a turn. Same goes for Unifrog. He can even attack directly and theoretically squeeze a little more damage out, so you can theoretically attack directly for 400 more and then second a Mass Driver. Something like that in case you get soul released or something weird like that. And last but not least, you're going to run 3 copies of Submarine Frog. He's preferable over Beel's Frog because he might be able to attack over, say, a Raikou or something for a little extra damage. So it's a 25 monster count and you run 15 spells. The other card I didn't have a third of was Mass Driver. But you run 3 Mass Drivers. These are pretty much your win conditions. Real self-explanatory. You run 1 copy of 1-for-1. Ditches a frog to the grave to activate because you have to discard a monster for it, so that's nice. And in addition, it also gets you your Substitute, which is level 1. You run Giant Trinid to clean off back rows and stuff if you want second instead of first, and it's also Mass Driver friendly. So, really only need the 1 removal. You run Card Destruction, because you don't mind ditching monsters to draw cards. You also run 3 copies of Hand Destruction. Your opponent's pretty much always going to have the cards in their hand because you're going to do this on your first turn. So, another great card. You run 3 copies of this nasty little thing, Moray of Greed. Lets you draw 3. Yikes. This is a great thing to have in your opener because if you didn't find your winning hand, this will probably draw you into it. And in my personal variant of this, I run 3 copies of Salvage. You can drop one of these Salvage for Heavy Storm, but usually what Heavy Storm is meant to stop is Royal Oppression. And the only thing Royal Oppression is going to stop that matters, because if they oppress your Ronin Toading, who cares? You're just going to remove another monster and attempt to special summon him again. They're not going to oppress Ronin Toading because they're actually going to burn themselves faster than they would to Mass Driver. So the only thing they're going to stop is if you 1-for-1 or otherwise somehow special summon Substitute. So you can actually just use that 3rd Salvage to get the Substitute back and normal summon it. And remember, Swap Frog's extra summon is a normal summon, not a special. So, anyway, like if you have Swap Frog on the field, bounce him to your hand, you get a normal summon, a Substitute from your hand. So, salvage, very important, because it allows Swap Frog to ditch Substitute and bring it back. So, buy salvage. And salvage, of course, helps compensate you for the -1s you're going to get off hand destruction. Your side deck, I usually don't talk about side decks, but here you really need, it's kind of important. You only side deck for two things, really. You side deck for other Frog decks, and you side deck for the things people might side against Frog decks. So your number one option, probably going to be Hanawata for the mirror match. They try to Frog FTK you as soon as they start burning, or you can let them burn up their grave. Doesn't really matter a whole lot, actually, in the long run. You probably want to stop them sooner rather than later to stop Unifrog from killing you, but Hanawata. This also works against the Frog deck, coincidentally. It's one of your best side decks because if they go first, they can kill you. And most side decks don't work against them, obviously, but Hanawata will because he can activate from your hand, of course. So, it's one of the best options you got. Getting 3 is easy. This one only works, don't even bother to side it in, really, unless you know you're going first so that you can set it. That's Chain Disappearance, because you can fire it and remove things like Substitute, which can shut them down. So, very crucial there. DD Crow is a good side also, but the problem with that is it only hits the one Ronin Toadian, and Ronin Toadian number 2 doesn't get hit. So unless you draw 2 DD Crows, it's not as effective, but it's still something you can activate from your hand. So considering how few options you've got, yeah, that's pretty much it. And for mirror match, you can also side in Burial to stop things like Crow and Soul Releases from killing you. So it's something you might want to consider. And the next 2 cards really just go together. These stop things like Death Wombat and Prime Material Dragon. You probably won't see a lot of them, but if you do, you side these in. Because these, basically, you play your whole, everything exactly the same as you would have. And then when you're going to start sacking things to Master Driver, the first thing you do is Soul Exchange or Brain Control, steal their monster, and then sack it off as the first thing to Master Driver. And obviously you can use this to feed your Substitute too. So, there you go. And that is the dreaded Frog deck for your consideration and easy building. And until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and enjoy.